Hello, welcome to Cloud Thoughts, the show where we talk cartoons. Now, the next show we're going to be talking about is F is for Family, a show done in the same vein as things like Family Guy, The Simpsons, American Dad, maybe even Bob's Burgers, in the sense of there's like the male lead, which is usually the father, with the wife and three kids, and they do have a dog. But you might be asking yourself, what differs this show from shows like Family Guy? All the shows I just listed. Well, you see, it has a continuity unlike other shows, where Simpsons hints at things here or there that like happened, that like are in a continuing timeline, and so does like American Dad sometimes, and with like the Jeff storyline and stuff with like Family Guy. Sometimes things happen. This is a show that starts in the school year and moves into and moves from the school year to Christmas time, then from Christmas time to summer, and so on and so forth. So the seasons change as the show is going. So you get a sense of them in different times of year. It's about a show that's set in the 70s, being about like color TV's a brand new thing. Uh, like there are certain hints here and there that like tell the timeline. I think they may outright state it. It's just my brain. I can't remember. Um, and so like this show is really good at doing a family dynamic set in the 70s with an open-minded people, being like new ideas being introduced for that time period of like women working. This because, as you know, the 60s were very sexist, so were the 70s. Of women can't work, men do the work. Um, but the wife character really wants a job and is more of a prominent role in this show than in any of the other shows. She's an actual character with motivations and wanting to do things, an actual character with flaws and things like that. Where with and Frank, the main character, is like trying to be understanding, but having these things pounded into him uh, since he was a kid makes him like get angry, and he has an anger issue, which not in like an abusive way. I don't think he's ever struck anybody. I think he's gotten close, but hasn't actually done it. Thankfully, because he's supposed to be our sympathetic main character, having to deal with all these things. Uh, so like, so the characters, the two parental characters, actually have a loving relationship that you can actually understand them being together, as well as like you see their arguments, you see their flaws in each other, you get to see like how the relationship works. Then you have the other characters being the children, one being a high schooler named Kevin, who is very dumb, but if he applied himself, he wouldn't be, which is shown in the most recent season, season 4. Uh, but loves music and it just needs to get his act together, basically, and being a struggling teen in rebellious years. And then you have the little brother, who is also is like an middle schooler. I think he's a middle schooler who like likes sports, mainly hockey, and is all about uh, that, and like is being the middle child and has struggles with being the middle child, and like seeing and like and then there's like uh there's the little sister character who is played as like, oh, I'm the little girl, I'm the daddy's princess. But as the season goes on and things start piling up for Frank starts neglecting the kids a little bit, and they you know like show their frustration with that with their lives, being like the little brother character, like blaming his bully for stealing a a hockey stick. But then his but then him and the bully become friends because he realized it was good for him to be sent away and like learn structure. Uh, and so, which was interesting. And then there's a little sister character that just does shit like this, like as a little kid will do. Um, and like, so that's pretty interesting. And then you have like, the dog actually does nothing. So, meh. It's just there because they have a family dog, and sometimes the dog will like do something to cause something, but for like a scene usually. Um, and then you got the neighbors, which is always a staple of the show, of this kind of show, of like the adults have friends. Um, this time both of them have friends, not just one side. But unfortunately, uh, like yeah, a lot of the neighbors, besides Goomer and the oh God, the character that's like 70s personified, uh, like are the only two characters that stand out to me. Um, and of course, the kids have friends of their own, and so like I don't remember any of their names because they don't stand out to me that much, but they do have their moments and they do have their funny scenes, especially the little boy's friend character who got shafted this season, by the way, because he had like almost no screen time. But you know they juggle a lot of characters a lot of the time. Um, I get so the neighborhood characters don't really shine that much in the show personally for me, but there's a couple outliers. But Frank's work also has people. Like at when Peter works at his brewery, there's the deaf guy, and things, and like a couple of minor characters that he works with that probably have names I don't remember. Unfortunately, uh, like some of them aren't that great, but there's like his boss character that's like gets some pretty good jokes in or jabs at him. He's like an overweight like boss whom they use his like overweightness for jokes and humor, uh, and like he just loves food. I mean, he loves food. Uh, I would put up the thing I'm thinking of right now that made me laugh. Here it is. Um, and like, so also there's a character who is the token black character, unfortunately, but he is like pretty good in this show. He gets his he gets to become Senate. He's pushing for equal rights, and there's other black representation in this show. There's a black like drinking pub, like a black bar that Frank goes to sometimes. There's like this character that delivers uh, condoms and like and delivers all this like vending machine goods. Who's African American, who is kind of important because he's like I think Frank works for him for a little bit, and then he like is the reason why Frank and his wife are having another baby. And unlike Family Guy or The Simpsons, where it's like, oh, we might have another kid, they're actually following through with it. That she gets pregnant, and at the end of the fourth season, spoilers, she gives birth. So like, you know, things go on. So what is the show about? It's about a struggling family in the 70s where times are about to turn. People are getting more rights. People are like working isn't as good as it once was. Like Frank works at an airport and makes enough to support his wife and three kids, and so like things are turning. It's a turning point in the decade. Um, no more shown in the recent season where Vic, that's his name, the 70 guy is personified, where Vic is being dethroned from where he works at a record company because times are changing there with the music, where everything was rock and roll and things before. now is slightly different. So you have Frank, who is the man of the house, who has to let go of certain things he did before. He was the man of the house. He brought it. He paid the bill. He didn't. But now his wife wants to start working, and his wife starts working at the beginning of the show, and like does Tupperware business, and like is it kind of against that first, but it does come through and does show he does care about those things. It's just like it's hard for him because of the way he was raised and the way he was shown. And like, and so like, she gets a Tupperware business. She creates something amazing, but unfortunately gets it stolen from under her. And season 4 is about her finding herself and what she wants to do, and then finding her own way. Not something that an extremist feminist would push, and not something that's mandated. Finding her own way and finding it being just her. Frank is about a man who's trying to, like I said, like deal with these changes as well as deal with work and like in supporting his kids and his family and things like that. Everyone has their own story, and like I said, it's continuity. It goes from the beginning of the story to the end of the story. Every season picks up where the last season usually left off. Sometimes they do like a little gap, I believe, but and like season 3 and 4 are right next to each other. Every episode isn't like the days. It does like, and they do lenient with like, oh, this week, and then like tell a story of the week that happened and why Frank's upset about something that happened during the week. So sometimes they skip weeks or maybe even a month or so, but it still like flows right into each other. So that way it's not another Family Guy. It's not another Simpsons. It's not an American Dad. Not a Bob's Burgers. It's something new. It's something original. And that's what I love about F is for Family. Now, if I'm going to start rating shows, I think, just because even though I just give blanket statements, rating shows, rating things is a lot of fun for me. It's meaningless numbers that mean nothing to anybody but me. And some people who like my show. If you like my show, hit that like button. But yeah, so like I'm gonna give F is for Family a good 7 out of 10. There's some really good jokes in here, some really solid characters, some really solid movement for adult shows in the future. Like I think this is what adult shows should be. Like if they're gonna do the family setting. That's not Rick and Morty. I'll talk about Rick and Morty sometime, but right now, this is F is for Family. Okay, so I did a poll on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, by the way, about what show you guys wanted me to do next. It was 50-50. Harley Quinn and F is for Family. Obviously, I went with F is for Family because I saw that one being voted on first, and so that's why. And next was the Harley Quinn. I still need to watch the last episode because I've been distracted with other things. And so, yeah. Alright, so if you like this video, leave a like. If you want to subscribe for more content, please do. I have other videos. They over here, over on the right here is where you can pick things, subscribe, or watch the latest video or most viewed. Please enjoy my content. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry, this is the more rambling one, but unlike Gravity Falls, this is unscripted, and I wanted to get this out because it's been a bit. Because I took a small break after Gravity Falls and after the discussion video on Phineas and Ferb, so that's why it's taken so long. And thank you all for understanding. Bye.